Okay, we're going to do a quick demonstration today of how a foreman might use the job forecasting system. So first of all, when a foreman or job super signs in, he will see a list of his jobs on the labor summary screen, which is the first screen to appear. And you'll notice that there are a few columns here, estimated hours, percent complete, earned hours, and so on, that give a summary of the job. Now what we want to do is drill into this particular job. So to do that, we just select the job, and then the job loads here for us in the grid. Now what we want to do is we want to just have a look at some of the data and see what we can do. So you'll notice that there's an estimated hours column here, percent complete, earned hours. So the earned hours is the estimated times the percent. The job to date hours, so these are your actual hours. And then earned hours, which are the difference between the actual and the earned. And then the actual over earned ratio to give you a performance ratio. Red means you're over estimate, and green means you're at or under. And then there's a couple of other columns here. Hours projected to complete the task, and the total hours we expect at the end of the task, projected at complete. And then the next column here is the difference between where we're projected to be at the end versus the estimate. So you can see in this case we're projected to be 1,260 hours, which is 12 hours under the estimate back here at 1,272. Now the final column we see here is the number of hours this period. So typically you're on a 1 week period, so I'm looking at the week ending of September the 11th. And during that week, there was 94 hours that was charged to this first phase code, 32 hours to the next one, and so on. And you can see that we're sorted by this column. So we've done this so that the columns with the highest hours for the last week are showing at the top of the list. So they're the ones that we're going to want to update the percent completes. Now, to update the percents or any other information here, all we do is select the cell that we want to update. So the foreman is able to update 3 different cells. He can update the percent complete, the hours to complete, or what's left for him, and the hours at the end of the task, that are total hours he expects at the end of the task, projected at complete. So any one of those 3 columns can be updated by the foreman, and the other columns will all calculate from that. So for instance, in this case, if I decided, well, I'm not 45% complete on that task, I'm really 50% complete on that task, I just start to type the numbers and it will open the field for edit and drop in my entry. So then when I hit enter, now you'll notice that the projected at complete number has been recalculated to 1134, and all these other numbers have been recalculated as well. Now the next task here, which is duct hangers, you'll see we're showing it's 93%. So the system based on that is saying, well, there's 13 hours to finish. Well, as you get closer to the end of the task, it might be easier to think about how much time is left on it. So in this case, we may decide that, well, there's really only 1 day left on this. So I'm going to say that there's 8 hours left on that task. And now you'll see the task has been marked at 95% complete, and the projected at complete is 176. So we're going to be 5 hours under on that task. Now, you will notice that we have lots of different phase codes here. And they're not necessarily organized. So if I'm the super and I want to see what's going on in my job, I may want to organize this so I can see it a little bit better. So the first thing that I may want to do on my job, you'll notice over here we've got little columns. So I may not be that interested in the phase code itself because it really doesn't tell me anything. I have the phase description here, but you'll also see I've got a number of other breakdowns available on this. I've got area, for instance. So if I click on area, now you'll see that I've got level 1, 2, 3 showing up and various things. So I may want to sort it by area so I can see my job a little bit better. So there's the stuff that's independent of area. Now I've got level 1 and level 2 and level 3, riser, roof, and so on. And well, I may say, well, I wonder how I'm doing on level 1. So how am I going to figure that out? Well, I could sit here and add up all these numbers here for level 1, my earned hours versus what I've taken, and figure it all out, but there's an easier way. What I can do is grab that area and just drag it down to the row group here, and now I've got all the data organized by level. Well, and it's not really in order, so I'm going to sort it. So now it's in order, level 1, 2, 3. So now you'll see level 1, I have 10 tasks in level 1, and level 1 as a group is 64%. It's running 11% over, 1.11 performance ratio. Now level 2, I seem to be doing much better. I'm operating just a wee little bit over estimate. And then level 3 is over by 16% for some reason. Now, I may want to investigate any one of those so I can drill into any level and see the individual phase codes in level. And again, at any point here, I can update any of these numbers. So if I decide, well, I'm not sure why this is set at 94%, really I'm done that task, so I can mark it at 100%. And you'll notice that all the summary numbers change and update as I'm doing these entries. Now, one of the things that happens if you start to scroll, you'll notice that things scroll off of the page on you. So what you might want to do is pin one of these columns or two of them. So I may want to pin the phase description column here, and I can pin it on the left-hand side. So now I always have the phase description showing here, so even when I scroll, the phase description doesn't disappear on me. And then likewise, I may want to see my projected over-under on the right-hand side of the screen, so I can pin that to the right. So now when I scroll, the system will scroll in the middle, and I'll always have those two columns, left and right, even depending on my screen size. So even if my screen is a little smaller, I'll be able to see that. Now, once you get this screen organized the way you want it, then we're just going to unpin this for a minute. And so if this is my preferred way of looking at this screen, now what I may want to do is say, well, I'd like to save this as a view. So I can save this as a view for the job. You'll notice it tells you it's been saved. And now if I leave this and come back, all the settings on the grid will be intact and stay the same So my pin column over on the right-hand side will always be where it is, and the grouping that I have set up by level will stay that way. So if I leave, go back to the summary screen, and we'll just go back to that view we were looking at here. So then if I go back to this job, now it'll come back sorted by level. And that's a quick demo of the system, and hopefully that'll help. Thanks.